What's going on, everybody? And how's everybody doing? And welcome back in. We are now the Bandwagon Podcast. Little name change here. Getting fired up. Same squad, same name. I mean, same squad, different name. My bad. Forgive me. Little echo going on here. Had the TV going, making sure everything was good to go. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing tonight? We're gonna be talking some March Madness. We're gonna be breaking down this bracket. We're gonna be talking about matchups I like, upsets I like, teams that I think have very favorable paths to the Final Four, and some teams where I think their road is some of the toughest we've seen in tournament history. But let's break it all down. Welcome back in, everybody. Make sure if you haven't already, drop that subscribe button, hit the like, comment down below, all that good stuff. Also, if you guys are watching this back as a video, make sure to go down there, look in the description. We got a link to our bracket challenge. All right, make sure y'all sign up for that. Jake Mueller's fired up about it. You know how Jake was last year. People voted no, and he was not happy. So go sign up for that for us. It's free, no charge. Just have a good time, talk some brackets, and have a good time. But let's get right into it. And now I put out a poll earlier about some questions. If you guys want, slide over to the Instagram. It's the Bandwagon Official. Slide over there, comment some questions. We'll get after it tonight, fellas. We're gonna be live for about an hour here. Jake Mueller's gonna stop by. Walker Bailey's gonna stop by. A couple other people might stop by as well. So I'm excited to see who all slides through here. So Jake Mueller asked why the name change. Here's the thing. We just kind of came up with it. Obviously, in the group of guys, we're all kind of bandwagons in our own way. Obviously, Jake, Kevin, Riley, Tom Brady, myself, LeBron. Even guys on our team too are bandwagon fans. Like I know JJ, he was a LeBron fan. Mason, I know he's big into the Honey Badger. He's hoping obviously that he comes to Baltimore. We'll see how that goes, but I just think too it's easier to find, which is one of the reasons we decided to do it. I hope you guys enjoy the logo. We're really excited about it. Obviously same squad, just different name. That's the motto, man. Same squad, different name. And here's the funny thing is that me, Jake, Riley, and Kevin all went to a school with like the similar colors we have in our logo. So it's kind of going back to our roots in a way, but it's fun. Jake also asked, "How's the fitness journey?" It's going well. It's going really well, to be honest. Dropped 11 pounds. Shout out Jake for answering that. Um, who's winning it all? That's a tough question, and I think here's the thing: is what you have to look at is you have to look at the bracket itself to determine who do you like. And I'm going to tell you guys this. I think a team that's got a great shot at making it out of this thing's the Kentucky Wildcats. I know a lot of people are picking Murray State to upside down, maybe round of 32, even Purdue in the Sweet 16. There's nobody in this field that I think can guard Oscar Tshiebwe and hold him to, 15 and 12. This dude could get 30 and 15 every game in the tournament. Ty Washington, Mintz and Grady need to hit their shots, but I feel like that will. Obviously, Coach Calipari is motivated too. Talked about that. And also another thing is like Murray State. I think they beat Purdue. I think they match up really well against them. Like, for me, Purdue's been one of the most inconsistent basketball teams all year. Like at points we think they're gonna just run through this tournament, and at points are like, is this the same Purdue team? Is this the same Jaden Ivey? That's what I really have questions about with Purdue. Obviously, North Carolina being in there too. I actually like UNC to upset Baylor in the round of 32. Just looking at this East region right now, I think you have a lot of teams that could be in play. I think the top 4 seeds all have great shots to make the Final Four. Baylor, UCLA, Purdue, and Kentucky. I think all 4 of these teams are really good. But yeah, let's move up here because this is something I want to talk about. Now, for me in my Sweet 16, I got Texas Tech and Duke. Okay. Now, Duke, everybody's like, oh, it's Coach K's last year. They're winning all for sure. This is their year. And here's the thing. I don't think they have a lead guy. Okay, I think Banchero is very good, one of the best players in college basketball. But do they have a lead guy, that lead star that can lead them to victory? I don't think so. And here's the thing with me is that you saw Virginia Tech get physical with Duke. And Texas Tech is an even more physical team. So I'm really interested. If that is a Sweet 16 matchup we get, I'm very interested to see how that really plays out. The chess match. Obviously, Texas Tech, Chris Beard left last year. They're doing a terrific job over there, still keeping that program intact. I think the Texas Tech Duke game is very intriguing, possible 16 um, Sweet 16 matchup. But let's take a look at the first round. Obviously, this is what we're wanting to see, man, because it's basketball Thursday through Sunday, every day, all day long. It is absolutely awesome when you get to hear the voice of Bill Raftery say, "Get those puppies in order" when a guy hits a three. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's the sounds of March, the sights, the sounds, all of it. You gotta enjoy it and you gotta love it. There is no better sound. But here's the thing, in all reality of the situation, this tournament is going to be one of, if not the weirdest to figure out. It is. It is. It's going to be so weird to figure out. And here's why. Here's why it's going to be so difficult to figure out. Okay. Is that you have 8 teams that theoretically could win the national title. I think you probably have more like 8 to 10, maybe 12 teams that can win a title, you know? So I think that this is going to be a really interesting um tournament, really interesting bracket as a whole. I think these matchups are very fascinating, and we'll get to these first round matchups here in just 1 second. I just have to send this link very quickly. But yeah, I cannot wait for this matchup. Okay, perfect. We are still live, still here. But yeah, first round. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. We're gonna break down every game. We're gonna go through all of them. You want to know why? Because it's March Madness, man. Gonzaga, Georgia State. I think Gonzaga has a distinctive advantage here. Chet Holmgren, dude's insane. Okay. Let's just assume Gonzaga wins. We're gonna look at the matchups that are really close and that I find fascinating. Boise State, Memphis. Boise State, very physical team. Okay. Memphis, a team that likes to get up and run up and down that court. Now, a lot of people have been saying that if Memphis wins, they can give Gonzaga a shot in the round of 32. I don't know. I don't really see it, but again, we'll see how that all plays out. Here's the thing about me with this matchup and why I'm so intrigued. Boise State is so physical. They get up in you. They don't let you take uncontested shots. Memphis, they're all about getting easy buckets, easy opportunities, and high percentage looks. So what's going to give here? What is going to give? That's going to be the real question when talking about this game. Did I just switch a pick? I did. Oops. That's my bad. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're good. We're good. Okay. Clicking things on that. This is unbelievable. Arkansas, Vermont, too. Again, another really interesting matchup. Vermont. Here's the thing about me with Vermont. They score 74 points a game. They're 17-1. They won 17 of the last 18 games. They're playing really good basketball. And so is Arkansas. I mean, Eric Musselman, the job that he's doing there, JD Note at the point guard position is absolutely unbelievable. Here's the key for me in this one. Does Arkansas come out and play their game? Because we've seen it early on this year where they don't come out, they play their game, and they don't play their game and they lose. Can they come out and play their game and establish? If they can, Vermont could pull this upset, which obviously the 4-13, the 5-12s, very popular picks in the NCAA tournament. Again, sticking with this West region, so many intriguing matchups. Michigan State, more athletic team. Davidson, got those shooters, man. I'm telling you, if Davidson gets hot from 3, look out. But here's the thing. is what I'm really intrigued to see. If this game is close down the stretch, Tyson Walker has been putting it to people down the stretch. Did in the Purdue game, did in the Wisconsin game, did against Illinois, hit that big shot to kind of get that game close. Obviously, Illinois ended up winning, but again, Tyson Walker's played huge this year. Okay, so here's my whole thing. Okay, is that with this West region, there's so much intrigue early on and throughout the rest of the bracket. I mean, you talk about this. Alabama and either Rutgers or Notre Dame. I think Rutgers beats Notre Dame. I think they're the better team. If it's Rutgers, Alabama, that's a terrific matchup. And then if Rutgers somehow beats Alabama, you have Rutgers versus Texas Tech, two of the most physical teams in college basketball. Like, this could be a 50-48 type of game where it's just brawl. It's a brawl, like the whole game. Figurative, not literal. But yeah, I mean, Duke, I think they win their first round easily. But then you talk about if Duke and Michigan State win, Tom Izzo versus Coach K in the second round of the NCAA tournament. This is what March is about, man. This is what March is about right here. But yeah, looking at this East region, again, I think it's pretty cut and dry here. I think Indiana wins the playing game. I think they beat St. Mary's. UCLA, I think, to me, is an Elite Eight team this year. They're experienced. Again, this is what I always talk about. Experienced guard play in March is so important. It's predicated on success. That's what it is. I mean, you look at the teams that have won. Look at them. Look at the teams that have won and won far in the tournament. The Harrison boys. You look at Josh Gosser, experienced guard. You look at Villanova and all the teams that they've had. Colin Gillespie, Archie Diacono, the list goes, DiVincenzo, the list goes on and on. And then you talk about guys like Marcus Page for UNC or Grayson Allen for Duke. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Grayson Allen, so I'm not going to say much on him. You know, obviously did something bad to AC Fresh. I don't know why you'd want to hurt Caruso. Great dude. But for me, again, the Texas, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been so hot lately. I mean, this team literally won the ACC tournament. And the crazy thing is, they're a missed buzzer beater away from getting knocked out in the first game they play. That's intriguing to me. This Murray State San Francisco game, two mid-major programs, two coaches that, by the way, are going to be up there with D1 candidates for jobs, which is an interesting thing to me. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what you guys comment your thoughts down below. I'm interested to see, but that was like the first half of the bracket. But yeah, I think, again, this is something that we talk about every year with March Madness, is how consistent our team's going to be from the regular season to the postseason. Because we see it all the time. We see it all the time. Literally. We see it. We see it all the time with these teams, that some show up, some don't. And it's like, I don't know who's going to show up and who's not. And I think this year it even calls into more question than previous years, to be honest with you. But let's take a look down here let's go to the South region. Talking a little bit about the South region right now. A little something. Cooper, Texan. Seton Hall, TCU. A game that, again, is really hard to pick because here is the thing. These two teams, very similar. Again, they don't give up a lot of points. 63, 64 points a game, respectively. That's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Seton Hall, their rebounding can carry them for sure through this game. But the problem is that TCU is so good defensively, and they are so focused on fundamentals. You know what I mean? TCU will out-fundamental you if you're not careful. And that's the thing that's so intriguing about this game, is that strength on strength. Houston, UAB. Here's why I think this 5-12 matchup This where it's going to get. Yeah, I think UAB is going to win this game. Illinois, Chattanooga. Chattanooga doesn't have an answer for Kofi Coburn. I mean, this dude is what 7'1". If he doesn't get into foul trouble, Illinois can go on a deep run for sure. Colorado State, Michigan. Again, I just think this is an example of who is Colorado State putting on Hunter Dickinson. This dude is an absolute beast. Who they putting on him? I mean, just throw it in the post. Turn around, Jay. I mean, Dickinson could have 25, 30 points in this game. Tennessee, I think they beat Longwood easily, to be honest with you. Ohio State, Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago is going to win this game. Kyle Young, the glue guy for Ohio State, hurt. Zed Key hurt. Not going to play, both of them, I don't believe. Loyola Chicago wins. I mean, who in their right mind picks against Sister Jean? I mean, for real. Like, Loyola Chicago, they could go on another run. And I know Tennessee don't want to see them in the Sweet 16 because we all know what happened last time they played. Kansas, for me, again, this is a team that I have a good amount of questions about, but I think they'll be good to the Sweet 16. Providence, San Diego, South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, baby. Kevin Brenner tells me the Jackrabbits are going on a run, and I agree with him for this game. I think they beat Providence. Providence has been playing sloppy basketball, not playing well at all. This team, South Dakota State, unfreaking believable, my boy. They can shoot the lights out if you're not careful. This is a team that can get hot from deep. LSU, Iowa State. Again, this is a game I've been going back and forth with. Haven't finalized my bracket yet. Leaning Iowa State right now, though, and here's why. Okay? Iowa State. This team has been kind of up and down all year, but they're elite defensively. They're super elite defensively. And that is what you want in a Cinderella team. You look at those teams that have won on runs, VCU, Shaka Smart, Wichita State. These teams all were very elite defensively. And this is a team that's elite defensively. And I don't know if they make it past the round of 32, but I think they get out of this one. Wisconsin and Colgate, man. Had to bring it back. Had to bring it back for the fans. You know, if you know, you know. Colgate, man. That shit was funny. But again, Wisconsin here. Colgate doesn't have an answer for Johnny Davis. Colgate can shoot the lights out the gym, and that's the one thing that might concern me and might get Wisconsin. But again, Johnny Davis is there. He's healthy. Give me the Badgers. And then USC Miami. Again, interesting matchup, but I think Miami is better suited here because USC has been playing horrible basketball down the stretch. Who plays well? Who wins in March? Teams that are playing well. That's why I think USC loses. But here's the thing. What I want you guys to do is I want y'all to sign up for the bracket challenge, fill out your bracket, then DM us on Instagram, hit us with your Final Four and your national champion. Because I'm interested to see what you guys think. It's March, man. It's March, baby. It's March, baby. That's what we're looking for. But here's the thing. Okay. I'm telling you. Okay. Right now, my Final Four. My Final Four is this: Texas Tech, Kentucky, Arizona, and Auburn. Again, I don't know that's obviously subject to change. Brackets are unlocked. But here's the thing. Texas Tech, Kentucky, for me, if that's the Final Four game, or Duke, Kentucky, those are two terrific matchups because, again, they have the size down low to deal with Sheedway. And also, Kentucky has the guard play to go up against Texas Tech and them boys. So that's what I'm thinking. All right. Burbach has a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 7, how cute is Jake? Comment that down below. 1 to 7, how cute is Jake? I'm going to go 7. I'm going to go 7 for the boys. You know what I mean? I'm going 7 for sure. Burbach got the dead emojis. Yeah, he's something. Burbach finna be posting shit on his IG. It's just fine. But here's the thing for me is I think Gonzaga is a little overrated. I think Baylor's overrated too. But here's the thing about Gonzaga is a lot of people have been saying this, and I've actually went back, watched some film, and seen it with my own two eyes. If you don't fall for shot fakes against Gonzaga, they could get beat. They could get beat because a lot of what happens is like Chet will pump fake and go around you and dunk the ball, and then momentum play. So my question is, who can give them the most trouble? And here's the thing: Memphis, right off the rip, they can run, they can give them trouble. Problem is, do they have a 7-footer to deal with Chet? That's going to be the big question. But here is the thing for me, okay? If UConn and Arkansas meet in the round of 32, one of those two teams probably plays Gonzaga. Here's my thought on this, okay? If Arkansas wins, or UConn for that matter, RJ Cole, JD Notae has the potential to be able to get out and run on this team and really see what they are made of. This is why I will tell you this right now. I don't think Gonzaga is a lock, okay, by any means for the national title, Final Four, whatever. I don't think they are a lock by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm going to say, what I'm going to tell you is this. If JD Notae and Arkansas match up in the Sweet 16 with Gonzaga, that is a nightmare matchup. Why? Because Eric Musselman knows how to play matchups. He knows. He's got JD Notae. He's got an experienced point guard. He's got big fellas down low that can bang with Chet Holmgren if they need to. That's my thing, okay? Now, Arkansas, like you can say all you want, oh, they've been inconsistent up and down. Yes, but again, has Gonzaga looked like the number one overall seed all year? Because I don't think so. Now, again, Arkansas, attacking style offense downhill, and they have multiple scoring options. 4 players, double digits, okay? Here's the thing, is if you get into a game with Gonzaga where you can keep up score-wise with them and put pressure on them, can they handle it? They're playing in the WCC with St. Mary's and San Francisco and Pepperdine and all these other teams. Can they compete when the going gets tough and when the chips are on the line? Can they? Because here's the thing. If someone said to me, oh, Gonzaga got knocked out in the Sweet 16, I would not be shocked. And another thing here. Michigan State Duke in the round of 32. Everyone's kind of penciling in Duke to make the Sweet 16. I mean, do we forget January, February Izzo? I mean, did we forget? I mean, this Michigan State team, I don't think can make the Final Four. I don't think they can make a national title. But again, my whole thing is, can this team beat Duke? Yes, it's plausible. Is it probable? I'm going to say no. I think Duke wins. I picked Duke. Sorry, Bo Snugs, but I think y'all run's going to get cut short by the Red Raiders of Texas A&M down there in Loving, I believe is where they are located. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of intrigue here in this bracket. And again, like I've been saying here, this is wide open. It's a wide open bracket, without a doubt. And I mean, here's the thing. If we're gonna be honest, there's 8 to 10 teams that can win this thing. There is 8 to 10 teams that can win this tournament. If you guys want me to list them off, I will, which I'm assuming you guys are all nodding your heads yes in the background right now. 8 to 10 teams that I think can win it all. Number 1, Gonzaga. They have a good enough team to win it all. Number 2, Duke. Number 3, Texas Tech. I don't think Baylor can win it all. Number 2, Kentucky. Number 4, Kentucky. Number 3, Purdue. I think UCLA can make the Final Four. I don't think they can win it all. Arizona, 6. Illinois, 7. Villanova, 8. Kansas, 9. Auburn, 10. Those are the 10 teams I think that can win it all. Now, I will say this. Tennessee, I know a lot of people are feeling good about. I don't think so. I think Michigan actually beats them in the round of 32. And then Baylor. Look at Baylor's road. Okay, Norfolk State. That's easy. But then North Carolina. Assuming the higher seeds play, you got North Carolina. Then you have UCLA, and then if you win that game, then you have Kentucky or Purdue. You mean to tell me this Baylor team's winning those 3 games? Not based off of what I've seen this year. Trust me, this team went to Allen Fieldhouse and didn't do so well. Trust me. And again, here is my big thing with North Carolina. If they play their game, there's a lot of teams where if they play their game, they will be all right in this tournament, in my opinion. Now, obviously, this is my opinion. Obviously, you guys are getting a lot of my analysis right now. We'll have everybody on to kind of discuss this and lay it all out as the tournament goes on. We go live and stuff during March Madness because why not? Who doesn't love a little March Madness, little English? As the old Bill Raftery would say, little English. I love Bill Raftery. By the way, I want you guys to comment down below too. Who's your favorite college basketball announcer? Dick Vitale, Jay Billis, Bill Wright. There's so many good options. Who are you going with? Who are you going with is my question. For real. All right, let's check the poll on Instagram, see if we got any more questions. All right, we answered all those. Nothing new. All right, let's see here. How many people have signed up for our bracket challenge? We're going to check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 people. Come on, fellas. We can do better than 12. I know. For real. I'm telling you. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Send them the link. Let's go. Let's get hyped about it. You know what I mean? Let's get hyped about it. Also, one thing I do want to bring up, too, is Walker Bailey will be joining us shortly, which will be fun. I've never had Walker on a podcast before. Does great things over at Off the Ball Network, so can't wait to chat up with him. But let's go back to the bracket here, and let's keep diving into this. So, my real question is, can Iowa make a Final Four run? That's the big question because, obviously in the Big Ten tournament, they looked really good. Jordan Bohannon hit that insane fade away, fall back off the glass 3. The bank was open for the Hawks. Hawks fly together. And then they beat Purdue at kind of their own game in a way. Keegan Murray, again, a guy that's probably going to go top 10, if not sooner, in the NBA draft. I need a haircut, fellas. I need a haircut bad. Get one tomorrow. Can't wait. Cannot wait. But yeah, I'm excited for this tournament. I think that there's so much intrigue here. And again, this is the greatest tournament in all of sports because you have so much parity. Not much mediocrity. Teams are getting blown out in March. Like that doesn't really happen. Obviously here and there we see blowouts. Normally one of the final four games is a blowout for some odd reason. I don't know if it's just guys are tired, but I mean, to be fair, you're playing four games in about uh 10 to 14-day span. So it's a lot of games very, very quickly. So I could see where it gets a little tough for some guys. But again, Auburn, I have questions about Auburn. I do. I really do. I think Auburn will make the Final Four, but I keep going back to this. They turn the ball over so bad. 16 turnovers a game in the last month. You guys want to understand how valuable those possessions are in just regular season? Just wait till March. You turn the ball over 16 times, you're gonna get ran off the floor. If Auburn turns the ball over 16 times against a team like Kentucky, they get beat by 30. Assuming everyone's healthy, Ty, Wheeler, Sheedway, all the boys, no one's in foul trouble either. That's another big thing. But again, it's like, do you realize? And like that's the thing that scares me about them, even in the Sweet 16 against a team like Wisconsin. Because if Johnny Davis is on, he's scoring 35, 40 points. This team could easily beat Auburn. This team could easily upset Auburn. And it would be really interesting to see what happens. But it's been a lot of fun chatting up with the brackets. I love March Madness. Like I said, man, I'm just texting Walker here, see if he's hopping on. Let's see here. Um, Let me see here, Walker. Bet Walker's hopping on. We'll talk with Walker for a little bit, and then we'll probably end this up here. Don't want to obviously go too late. It is what is it, Monday night? But again, the first four matchups too really intrigued me. Rutgers, Notre Dame. I think that's going to be a fantastic basketball game. Wyoming, Indiana. I think Indiana is a team that can make a run. They could be last year's UCLA. Like, in my opinion, it could happen. We'll obviously see kind of how that all unfolds, but I think UCLA is another team to keep your eye on. Um, and obviously, I think Indiana's a team. I this team to me has been getting slandered all year, and I think they're better than people think. They took Purdue down to the wire. Purdue almost blew that game on senior day at home. Like, if you're Purdue, that's embarrassing. But yeah, again, and the one seed that I think could get knocked out early has to be Baylor and then Gonzaga. The two seed I think could get knocked out early. Not super early, but early. I think it's either Duke or Auburn. I honestly think both of these teams could get knocked out in the Sweet 16, and it wouldn't surprise me. Duke, I think, probably has a better chance of losing than Auburn because I think Texas Tech's about an all-around team than Wisconsin. They have more playmakers, facilitators, and obviously on the low block, they have someone that can compete with Walker Kessler of Auburn, the big man that he is. But yeah, I think this bracket is going to be absolutely insane. When's the first game? First game's tomorrow. Oh my God. You guys want watch alongs for the first four? We could do that. We could. We could make it happen. Y'all need to comment down below for sure. But we could make it happen. We could definitely make it freaking happen. All right. Let's see here. Gonna check the questions one more time. Yeah, I already answered all these. Honestly, I gave my 8 to 10 that could win it all. I'll throw a dark horse in there. I will throw a dark horse in there. You boys ready for this? My dark horse. My dark horse. As much as it pains me to say it, I'm gonna say it's the Iowa Hawkeyes. This team could go on a run. They got Final Four potential. Let's go. Walker Bailey in the building. Walker, what's up, man?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Just kind of settling in. Been working through some bracket stuff here the last few days, and just to make sure it twist your mind in a million different directions because so many of these matchups can go so many. Just they're toss ups. I mean, they're coin flips.
Walker, I agree. Welcome into the show. First time guest. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter at Walker Bailey 8. Does a lot of work for over and off the ball network. This dude is an all around beast, always talking sports on the internet, which is great to see. But Walker, well, let's just jump right into it here. Well, gosh, and I won't keep you too long. Obviously, I know it's a Monday night, lot going on, but what's kind of your first thought here as you're looking at the bracket?
So I thought Arizona got the best draw out of everybody.
Okay.
I think their bracket really set, or I think their region really sets up for them to have a lot of success. I think that even though Tennessee and Villanova are in there, Tennessee with Rick Barnes, typically Rick Barnes doesn't really have a whole lot of postseason success, and Villanova's been kind of banged up all year and hasn't really looked like just a super threatening team from a national title perspective.
Yeah.
So I thought they got the best draw. I thought Gonzaga got the worst draw from a style of play standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that Gonzaga struggles a lot with athletes and teams that have a lot of athleticism. And a team like UConn is going to crash the boards. They could see them as early as the Sweet 16, even the round of 32 with guys like Jalen Duren and a veteran bunch in Memphis that's really long and going to stress them defensively. And that's before you even get to the bottom half with Duke and even teams like Alabama, who Alabama's already beaten Gonzaga away from Tuscaloosa this year. So I think that was the instant, I watched Gonzaga because they revealed Gonzaga's region first, and my instant takeaway was just like, wow, that's going to be a really hard region for them to get out of.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought the team with the best draw was, believe it or not, Kentucky. I think Purdue, I think that sometimes we overrate them a little bit because of Jaden Ivey. But here's the thing for me about Purdue is they haven't really been that consistent team all year where I say, okay, this team can go out there and make the Final Four and win a national title. They've shown me glimpses of it. But here's the thing is like now that Kentucky has everybody back and healthy, I just don't know if anyone can really stop them from a sense in this. Like they can beat you in so many different ways because they have Wheeler, Washington, Grady. They can shoot the lights out the gym. And then you got Sheedway, who it seems like this dude can get 30 and 15 without even breaking a sweat, you know?
Right. And I think with Kentucky, the biggest thing is, they've really only struggled when they've played elite defensive teams that can kind of counter all the weapons that they have on offense, and they've struggled to score. Like that matchup with Tennessee both times down the stretch, the one in Knoxville, and then also again the one in the SEC tournament. They didn't draw any of that. Purdue doesn't really guard anybody. Texas has a defensive-minded head coach, and they play a system that would cause Kentucky problems, but he hasn't really gotten the guys in there yet that can execute that system in the way that he wants to. And quite honestly, Chris Beard has struggled a lot without Mark Adams this year. Leaving Mark Adams behind at Texas Tech, it's been kind of a struggle bus. And really, honestly, Chris Beard's had 3 average teams since that national title run with Texas Tech, where they lost to Virginia. So I think they got a good draw. Baylor's not healthy. So, I mean, if you had to pick a 1 seed for Kentucky, that's what you would want. So, yeah, I really actually like the draw for almost all of the SEC teams. I think all of the top 4 SEC teams got good draws.
Well, I'm going to give you a bold take here, Walker. I think Baylor loses before the Sweet 16.
So I wanted to go there. I just can't. I don't think that North Carolina has the weapons to do it, and I don't think Marquette can advance. And I mean, I know we're kind of like diving off, but and list of potential opponents. I just think I don't think Marquette can compete on the glass with North Carolina. And it's one of those things where there is certainly a path to victory for Marquette in that first round. But I think that path, there's only one, and it's them having a really good shooting game. And they certainly could with Daryl Morcell and Justin Lewis. So, I mean, I think that that's possible, but I think it's more likely that UNC has multiple paths to victory. It's dominate the glass. It's, have a really efficient scoring game. And I just think that it's more likely you get one of those paths with North Carolina.
Yeah.
I do think Baylor has the size inside to handle Armando Bacot. And if it gets down to that, I kind of trust Baylor's offense because UNC is not just the most efficient defensive team. So I think Baylor gets to the Elite Eight. But I really honestly, I wouldn't hesitate. I didn't hesitate taking Kentucky to beat Baylor. I think the middle of that bracket is kind of soft. I think UCLA. I think UCLA is kind of on upset alert in round one. I think they get by.
Yeah.
But I do think that Akron team is one to keep an eye on. If you're looking for because we've gotten a lot of these kind of trendy, everybody's on these certain types of upsets early. I don't think Akron is going to be one that's talked about a lot, but I think that game's going to be close.
Yeah, I think one that everyone's kind of talking about, South Dakota State and Providence. And my whole thing is that I've told people this. I'm like, Providence is not the same team that were early in the year, and that's very concerning to me. Nothing against what Ed Cooley's doing over there. He's doing a terrific job, and this team could certainly make a run. But again, it's can they even get out of the first round? I don't think so, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when's the last time you saw a 4 seed that was only a 2-point favorite against a 13 seed? And
Never.
I think a lot of that is credit to what South Dakota State's done this year, and I think a lot of it is matchup based as well. I think South Dakota State's in the 98th percentile in transition offense, which is just the elite of the elite. And then Providence doesn't defend well in transition, so I think that that's going to lead to a lot of open shots for South Dakota State. It's just going to be one of those things where do they knock shots down or do they not? Now, I do think that people have kind of overplayed this upset, this game a little bit in the sense of I think a lot of people have already kind of written South Dakota State into the second round. I do think that if South Dakota State doesn't shoot well, that Providence's size on the interior is going to be a problem. And it's another one where if they can rebound and dominate in the interior, South Dakota State's, lack of depth and lack of size could really cause some problems with guys like Nate Watson. So, I think that the path for South Dakota State to win is not some crazy, it's not a crazy path. They can beat Providence straight up. They don't need anything crazy. But I do think that people kind of have almost pretended that South Dakota State is the more likely winner of this game. And I don't think that's true.
So Walker, something that I wanted to touch on too with you, and I noticed this when I was filling out my bracket. In the Sweet 16 in the West region, you look at these two possible matchups: Gonzaga and I think it's going to be UConn versus Gonzaga, and Texas Tech versus Duke. And I mean, you really talk about the higher seeds having a little bit of a disadvantage here. Duke has struggled mightily against really good defensive teams. Texas Tech can defend the basketball. It's not a secret. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so I think that potential matchup is really intriguing. I also think Duke's biggest thing too is that they really struggle to defend the perimeter. And so when you get a team with guards, really just like anybody in that region, I mean, even as soon as the second round, with whoever comes out of Michigan State and Davidson. And a little spoiler, I actually have Duke losing to Davidson in the second round. But on top of all that, I do think, from that standpoint, Duke and Texas Tech would match up in a way that Texas Tech's guards would have to play really well for them to win that game, and they would have to make shots, and they would have to, excel at the free throw line, which are not things that they've really just done super well all year. But if they had a good shooting game, then that's a game that's played in the 60s, and Texas Tech has a really good chance to win that game. Texas Tech is one I have a really hard time figuring out what to do with. I think it's a team that is certainly capable of playing in the national championship game, and I think it's a team that's easily capable of losing in the round of 32.
Yeah, I got you. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens, particularly with Duke. I think everyone's kind of written them into the Final Four because of it's Coach K's last season. and I
I
think that might come back to bite some people.
So this region actually reminds me a lot of, I believe it was the South region a few years ago when we had Arizona with DeAndre Ayton and Kansas State. Or no, that was Virginia's region. So Arizona was the 4, Kentucky was the 5, um, Virginia was the 1, and I think a lot of people talked about how stacked it was, and a lot of people were looking at these matchups and kind of looking ahead, and the region just ended up completely blowing to hell because UMBC ended up winning that first round game, and then Kansas State beat Kentucky at some point. Buffalo with Nate Oates beat Arizona. So I think this is another region that maybe just completely goes off the rails.
And I think too, like your point about Davidson, like either of those teams, Davidson or Michigan State, could give Duke fits in that second round.
Yeah, I think Davidson too. With they have really good guards. They have wings that they're not first round prospects, but they have legitimate NBA prospects. And then the other thing is, I mentioned Duke struggling to defend the perimeter. We saw in the ACC championship game how they defended Virginia Tech. We saw in both appearances with North Carolina. The first one they won going away, but North Carolina just missed a ton of open shots.
Right.
And then in the latter, North Carolina got the same shots and they actually knocked them down. So I think with Duke and even Syracuse to an extent in the ACC tournament had success. I think with Davidson, a team who shoots, I believe, north of 40% from 3 for the season and has snipers just all over the court. I think it's one of those that's a really scary matchup for Duke, even though they would have an overwhelming talent advantage. It's one of those from a matchup perspective that is really bad for Duke because Davidson can absolutely shoot them out of the gym.
Yeah. So I got 2 questions for you, and then I'll let you go. I know you got a lot going on, but um, number 1 here, how many teams realistically do you think can win this tournament this year?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's right around 6. I think Gonzaga's capable, and I think Gonzaga's capable. I think Kentucky's capable. I think Arizona's capable. I think both Kansas and Auburn are capable, and then I think like Tennessee is capable. I mean, I think it's right around 6.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's 6 to 8 for me.
I think it's like 6 to 8. That sounds like a good number because there's teams you could throw in there that I'd be like, okay, yeah, I get that. I think they can do it.
Well, I think too the one interesting thing for me about this year is I don't think we've ever seen a March Madness where we're so fascinated with matchups at each
Mhm.
round. Like we have good matchups at each round possibilities here of this tournament. I mean, and you're talking about underrated matchup for me, Murray State, Kentucky. I mean,
Yeah,
that matchup would be terrific in the second round. I think Kentucky wins, but it's closer than a lot of people think.
yeah. Well, even that first round matchup with Murray State and San Francisco. I mean, we're talking about 2 of the elite mid-major programs in college basketball right now, and 2 coaches who are probably going to be Power 5 head coaches in like 3 weeks. And so I do think I actually have San Francisco advancing to play Kentucky, but I think that game is going to be an all timer. Like it's one of the ones that's absolutely uh, on my short list of must watch games this week. Now, granted, like I'm a basketball like junkie, I'm going to watch probably bits and pieces of every single game this weekend. But that's one that I probably would like to have on a TV. I'll have 3 TVs up in the living room, so that's one that'll be on start to finish.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, I'll have 3 going as well. We'll be making it happen. But um last question for you. Who do you like to win it all this year?
So I've got Kentucky hoisting the nets right now. That's subject to change before Thursday, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like Kentucky, and then the other team that I like, I think, like if I had to pick another one, would be Kansas. I think both teams have flaws, but I think both teams have the most complete rosters in terms of they have the least numbers of ways to get beaten, and they have the most possible paths to victory. And I think in unique matchups, which is what March is all about, that's the thing that you kind of look for.
All right.
So
You got a sleeper team before I let you go?
yeah, so I'm actually going to go back to the West. I'll go Alabama. I actually had Alabama and I don't know if I'll finish with this because I'm still tinkering, but I actually have Alabama. I think that they could be in the Final Four. It's a team that's already beat Gonzaga. It's a team that has proven that they have the talent level to compete with absolutely anybody. It's just they have to find a way to make shots, and they have to make shots, and they have to lock in on the defensive end. But they've shown us in the regular season that they can absolutely beat the elite of the elite. So I think the biggest thing will be advancing past this 11 seed, and once they get in these games with these elite teams, I think there's a decent chance that they play to the level of their competition, and we see the best version of them, which is absolutely elite. That's why they're a 6 seed at 19 and 13.
Yeah, I think my one concern with Alabama is they haven't put together a lot of games this year where they're playing consistent basketball.
Yeah, and
Um,
that is the fair concern. I mean it's a team that beat Gonzaga and lost to Iona and lost to Georgia. So I mean, it's tough to figure out what to do with them. But I
right.
think if you even see them put together a 5-game stretch, that's all it takes. I mean, you're in
Yeah,
the Final Four at that
I
point.
I like Kentucky as well, and
Yeah. It kind of
my
worries me how many people like them.
my sleeper would be Iowa.
I really like Iowa too. I just don't like the Big Ten in general. Not from not like a personal dislike. I just
Right.
think that a lot of those teams, I think, end up ranked and rated higher because they beat up on each other. But then when they get into competition against some of these other teams, they're not quite as good as maybe what they've been chalked up to be. But I do like Iowa. This is a different Fran team. Like it's a different team. They play decent defense. They have instead of like running it through Luka Garza like they did in the past, now it's Keegan Murray on the wing who scores at an NBA level. They're old, lots of veterans. I liked their draw as well. I think even if Providence, I think that they're advancing to play Kansas, and then it's just a matter of whether or not they can win that game. But I'm pretty low on the Big Ten in general. I actually think I have most of them going out really early. Other than
Yeah,
Iowa, I think Iowa is the only one I have in the Sweet 16 right now.
I think the Big Ten. I think that they're really motivated this year. So I think that you could see a couple of Big Ten teams make runs. But I think you could also see where a lot of them go out early. This is
Well, every team is just so flawed, man. It's so matchup dependent, and even teams like Purdue. Like, I mean, Purdue is a team that I bet 25 to 1 to win the national championship before the season started. Even though I knew I hated Big Ten teams, and I mean, and that's one that I'm not going to say I've given up on it, but I mean, it's one that I've almost certainly like kind of written off just because I think that they're so the way that their draw happened. There's so many teams that can take advantage of them defensively. And as bad as they are defensively, quite honestly, there's not a whole lot of teams that can't take advantage of them defensively. So, we'll just I'm going to kind of wait and see. I'm intrigued to see how things go Thursday. Providence, South Dakota State will be interesting. I actually think one of my favorite Big Ten teams to pick kind of moving through this thing will be Michigan.
Yeah, I agree. I have Michigan going to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting them past Tennessee, but I mean, I've had to think about it, and I had no problem picking them to beat Colorado State. Like, I had
Right.
zero
Yeah.
issue doing that.
Well,
And I
and
love Colorado State.
for me, this Michigan team, like they're like Alabama, where like if they're playing really good basketball, they could make a deep run, and it wouldn't shock me. But that we've also seen them play absolutely horrible this year and lose a
Yeah.
lot of games.
Yeah, we've seen more from Alabama, I think, than when we've seen from Michigan.
Yeah, agreed.
Really, the main reason I liked them is in the first round is just their just incredible size advantage against Colorado State. And I think it's a bad matchup for both teams. Like, I think both teams can expose things on each side. When it comes down to it, though, I just think that Michigan's going to end up getting a lot of second chances with Dickinson, and Colorado State just doesn't have a ton of answers for that. And I mean, I've been on the Rams all year in terms of talking them up and getting ready for this moment, but I think this is just the worst possible draw for them.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. Walker, thank you so much for hopping on for a little bit with me, man. Let everyone know where they can find your work.
So yeah, as he mentioned earlier, it's Walker Bailey 8 on Twitter. And then Chris Bolton and I do One Shining Pod with everything college basketball. That's out on Spotify. We'll actually be dropping something tomorrow. We're recording early in the morning ahead of the first 4 games starting in Dayton tomorrow night, and that'll be out around lunchtime tomorrow. So we'll have something up to where, I'll kind of go similar to here. It'll be much more in depth, and we'll really break things down and talk about what we expect from the tournament over the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome, man. Make sure you guys go check out Walker on Twitter and check out his stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Enjoy March Madness, and let's have some fun watching some basketball.